The world watched in awe. Luis Antonio Tagle, the Archbishop of Manila, was now Pope. It was a historic moment. He was the first Asian Pope in centuries. Tagle, known for his humility, seemed surprised. He accepted his role with grace. A new era had begun for the Catholic Church. The journey was unlikely for this Filipino cardinal. He came from humble beginnings. He was known for his compassion and intellect. His charisma captivated millions. But the path to the papacy is never easy. Tagle had his share of critics. Some questioned his stance on social issues, others saw him as too progressive. But his supporters were steadfast. They saw a man of deep faith. They believed he could unite a divided world. The conclave's decision was a surprise. Tagle was not considered a front-runner. Yet when the white smoke emerged, his name echoed through St. Peter's Square. It was a sign of change. The Church was ready for a new voice. Luis Tagle's journey to the papacy was unconventional. Unlike many predecessors, he hailed from a developing country. The Philippines, with its vibrant faith and socio-economic challenges, shaped his worldview. Tagle's upbringing was modest. He witnessed poverty and inequality firsthand. These experiences instilled in him a deep empathy for the marginalized. His academic prowess was evident early on. A theologian by training, Tagle possessed a sharp intellect. He studied at prestigious institutions, including the Catholic University of America. His scholarship focused on understanding modern society through the lens of faith. Yet Tagle never lost touch with ordinary people. He was known for his warmth and approachability. He spoke plainly, connecting with people from all walks of life. Tagle's homilies were renowned for their clarity and compassion. He emphasized social justice, interfaith dialogue, and the Church's role in serving the poor. His rise through the ranks was steady. He served as Bishop of Imus before becoming Archbishop of Manila. His leadership was marked by pastoral sensitivity and a commitment to the poor. It was this unique combination of intellectual depth and common touch that endeared him to Catholics worldwide. The Vatican, with its ancient walls, holds centuries of secrets. Tagle's rise to papacy was not without whispers. Some questioned his rapid ascent. Others pointed to powerful figures who opposed him. The Curia, the Vatican's governing body, is a labyrinth of power. Navigating its corridors requires political acumen. Rumors circulated about resistance to Tagle's progressive views. Traditionalists saw him as a threat. They feared he would dismantle centuries-old doctrines. His emphasis on social justice unnerved some. They preferred a focus on dogma and moral absolutes. Tagle remained undeterred. He continued to advocate for the poor and marginalized. He called for environmental protection and spoke out against corruption. His courage earned him admiration, but also intensified opposition. The struggle for the soul of the Church was playing out. Tagle represented a departure from the past. His election as Pope was a victory for reformists, but it also signaled the challenges ahead. Tagle knew he had to navigate these treacherous waters carefully. He needed to unite a church divided. The weight of history rested on his shoulders. Pope Tagle's papacy from the outset felt different. There was an earnestness about him, a sincerity that resonated beyond the Vatican walls. He spoke openly about the challenges facing the Church, acknowledging past mistakes with humility. This transparency fueled speculation. Whispers turned into questions about a significant revelation to come. The weight of the office was evident on Tagle's face. He carried the burdens of the Church, the hopes of millions, and a secret that weighed heavily on his soul. The decision to confess was not easy. He understood the potential for turmoil, the risk of further division. Yet Tagle believed in the power of truth. He saw confession as a necessary step towards healing and renewal. For years he had carried this burden alone. The weight of secrecy, he realized, was detrimental to his leadership. He knew that true leadership demanded vulnerability. The world waited with bated breath. The anticipation was palpable. When the announcement of a papal address arrived, a sense of gravity settled upon the Catholic world. Millions tuned in, their faces reflecting anxiety, hope, and uncertainty. The stage was set for a moment that would redefine Pope Tagle's papacy and the future of the Church. A world transformed, the confession's seismic impact on Catholicism. The world held its breath as Pope Tagle addressed the faithful. His confession was not a matter of personal sin, but a revelation about the Church's past. He spoke of institutional failings, of power abused, and of truths hidden for far too long. Tagle's words sent shockwaves through the Catholic world. The confession was specific, detailing instances of corruption and cover-ups. He named names, exposing those who had abused their power. Tagle apologized on behalf of the Church, expressing deep remorse for the pain inflicted. The impact was immediate and profound. Some felt anger, betrayed by the institution they held sacred. Others felt a sense of validation, their long-held suspicions confirmed. The Catholic world was thrown into turmoil. Debates raged about the Church's future. Calls for reform intensified. Tagle's confession was a watershed moment. It shattered the illusion of infallibility. It forced Catholics to confront uncomfortable truths. But amidst the turmoil, there was also hope. Tagle's honesty was a sign of change. He was acknowledging the sins of the past. He was paving the way for a more transparent and accountable Church. Tagle's example of humility and transparency. Pope Tagle's confession was an act of extraordinary courage. In a world where leaders often prioritize image over integrity, he chose a different path. His willingness to embrace vulnerability resonated deeply with Catholics. He acknowledged his own humanity and the fallibility of the Church. This act of humility challenged the traditional image of papal authority. Tagle was not presenting himself as infallible. He was leading by example, showing the power of truth and reconciliation. His transparency set a new standard for leadership, not just within the Church, but for the world. People admired his willingness to admit fault and seek forgiveness. It fostered a sense of trust and authenticity. It showed that true leadership involved acknowledging imperfections. Tagle's actions paved the way for healing. By confronting the past, he created space for a more honest and open dialogue. He invited the Church to embark on a journey of renewal, rooted in truth and accountability. Hope and reform in the wake of confession. Pope Tagle's confession unleashed a wave of reform within the Catholic Church. He established new accountability mechanisms. Independent commissions were formed to investigate past abuses and ensure transparency. Seminaries revamped their training programs, emphasizing ethics and pastoral sensitivity. Tagle's emphasis on synodality, a collaborative approach to church governance, gained momentum. He empowered lay people, giving them a greater voice in decision-making. The Church was becoming more inclusive and responsive to the needs of its people. The impact extended beyond internal reforms. Tagle's papacy breathed new life into interfaith dialogue. He engaged with leaders from other religions, seeking common ground on issues like poverty, climate change, and peace building. His message of compassion and social justice resonated globally. People saw in him a leader who transcended religious boundaries. Tagle's confession, though initially divisive, ultimately became a catalyst for renewal. It forced the Church to confront its demons and emerge stronger, more transparent and more in tune with the needs of the world. Beyond the walls, Tagle's vision for a more inclusive Church. Pope Tagle's vision extended beyond reforming internal structures. He envisioned a Church that was truly inclusive, welcoming people from all walks of life. His papacy signaled a shift away from judgment and condemnation. Tagle emphasized mercy and compassion, reminding Catholics that everyone deserves God's love. He reached out to marginalized communities, including LGBTQ+ individuals, divorced and remarried Catholics, and those who had strayed from the faith. Tagle's message was clear. The Church was a home for all, not just the perfect. He challenged traditional interpretations of doctrine, urging a more nuanced and compassionate approach. Tagle's focus was on pastoral care and accompanying people on their spiritual journeys. He wanted a Church that listened more than it lectured, one that offered support rather than condemnation. This shift in tone resonated with many, particularly young people. They saw in Tagle a leader who understood their struggles and who offered a message of hope and acceptance. His papacy marked a turning point in the Church's relationship with the modern world, moving towards greater inclusivity and a more compassionate understanding of faith. A legacy unfolding. Pope Tagle's enduring impact on the world. Pope Tagle's papacy will be remembered as a time of profound transformation. His journey from humble beginnings to the pinnacle of the Catholic Church is an inspiration to millions. But it is his courage to confront the past, his humility in acknowledging fault, and his unwavering commitment to truth and justice that will define his legacy. Tagle's impact extends beyond the Catholic Church. His papacy has sparked conversations about leadership, accountability, and the importance of compassion in a fractured world. He has shown that true leadership involves embracing vulnerability, acknowledging limitations, and seeking forgiveness. His example has inspired other institutions to examine their own practices, to confront injustice, and to prioritize the needs of the marginalized. The reforms he initiated within the Church serve as a model for creating a more transparent, accountable, and just society. Pope Tagle's legacy is still unfolding. His papacy is a reminder that even institutions as ancient and powerful as the Catholic Church can change. It is a testament to the power of truth, the importance of humility, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Please subscribe to our channel History Documentary Hub for more insightful videos and intriguing content.